Hello and welcome to the chesscreator.com YouTube video channel. In today's video I would like to continue with my series of video lectures on the London system. In today's video I'm going to annotate another one of my own games, and then in the next few videos we'll return to Grandmaster games, and then we will look at some common tricks and traps in the London system. Okay, so once again this was a 5-minute blitz game, and the game continued as follows: d4, d5, bishop f4, e6, e3, knight f6, bishop d3. And as you can see, I'm starting to form the classic London pawn triangle with pawns on e3, d4 and c3. I've developed the dark square bishop early to f4, and I've developed the light square bishop to d3, which is pointing at h7. This game continues. Bishop e7, quite passive response from black. c3, castles. Now, when people castle early against the London system, it can prove to be something of a mistake. It really allows white to attack. So, here I play knight bd2, just developing, b6, h3. As you've seen in previous videos, h3 is often played in the London system to allow the dark square bishop to maintain itself on this diagram if black plays knight h5. In this case we saw c5, knight gf3, and here the position of the white pieces is pretty much a classic London system formation that you will see in many of the textbooks. This game continued with c4, and I dropped the bishop back to c2. Black plays bishop a6, and I must admit I personally cannot see a reason for bishop a6. Perhaps it was a mouse slip intending to fianchetto. But anyway, the game continued with knight e5, bishop d6, and this time I played queen f3. The reason I played queen f3 is it allows me to perhaps play queen g3, or if this knight moves I can play queen h5, which would combine rather nicely with the light square bishop. Once again, as you've seen in the previous videos, I still have all castling options open. I can castle kingside, castle queenside, or if I wanted to at some point later I could just pop the king away, perhaps onto e2. This game continued with bishop takes knight, and I once again have a choice to recapture with the dark square bishop or with the pawn. And here I recaptured with the pawn because, as you saw in my previous video, it really forces black to retreat their knight. And this they do. d7. I played queen h5 with the rather obvious threat of checkmate on h7, which of course they see, and play g6. Here I played queen h6, and my opponent continues with knight c6, piling pressure up on the e5 pawn. However, I'm not really interested in the pawn, and I play bishop g5. Bishop g5 obviously threatens black's queen, But there's a hidden tactic here, because if black moves the queen, then I can play bishop f6, and at that point it's a forced mate. The only way to prevent the bishop, queen and pawn combining in a mating net is for black to play f6, but unfortunately for them, unfortunately for me, they missed that in this game and play queen c7. At this point I'll just check, but I believe it was a mate in 3. Yep, mate in 3. And the game comes to a swift conclusion. Bishop f6, and now even if this piece is captured, now we've simply recaptured with the pawn, and the pawn on f6 will combine with the queen to allow mate. But here my opponent doesn't even see that. It is a 5-minute game, so perhaps they just weren't concentrating. But they play knight takes d5, and the game ends in rather unceremonious fashion with queen g7 mate. So, not a great game by black, but once again we saw that the game progressed along normal London lines. Black allowed white to get into the London formation. We saw c4 again, and we saw that once again the bishop can just drop back to c2. And in this game we saw a slight variation, bringing the queen into play on the king side because black had castled very early. Once again we saw the theme of the recapture with the pawn on e5, and all in all a nice kingside attack with a quick checkmate. So I hope this has proved useful for those of you that are looking to learn the London system yourself. In the next video I will return to Grandmaster Games, and in the meantime I hope this video has helped you with your own chess, and if you have any comments or questions, particularly on the London system, feel free to drop me a message on YouTube. Thanks very much.